Welcome to Disney Planning Insights. This is a replay of our DPI News and Notes show that we do every Tuesday over on Facebook. To see my smiling face, find us on Facebook at DPI Podcast or on YouTube at the Disney Planning Insights Podcast. Now enjoy this episode after a short ad from our friends at Anchor. Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome to Disney Planning Insights. Through creative content and live shows, we explain the hidden details of the Disney experience so that our clients can execute memorable adventures. Together with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel, we have helped hundreds of clients plan, book, and prepare for magical Disney vacations. Let our experience help you avoid common planning mistakes and maximize the enjoyment on your next Disney trip. Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Matt with the DPI Podcast. It is Tuesday, December the 20th. This is our last show of the year. Hopefully you and your families have a wonderful holiday season, and we will catch you on the other side of the new year. A little bit of housekeeping before we get into the new year. We will be releasing the rest of the audio for the shows from this month over the next couple of weeks. So if you are an audio-only listener, thank you for that. We will get you caught up heading into the new year. And then as we start the new year, we will probably start the year with a best of and a 2023 goals show that first week in December, and then move on to our regular news and notes and top three and all that fun stuff. One thing on the top three side, if you do have any suggestions for top threes for 2023, definitely drop those in over on the website, patmdisneytravel.wixsite.com/planning, and fill out that little form in the top right section. That'll help us with some of that content creation for next year. So like I said, we've got Peter with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel. We're going to talk a little bit of Disney news. We're going to talk some other stuff, do a top three, and have some fun tonight. So let me go ahead and bring on Peter and get this show rolling. Mr. Salvadori, how you doing tonight?
Living the dream.
Living the dream. Did you get a chance to see Avatar over the weekend?
No, I've been too busy, man. Finals finished up last week between finals and basketball and everything else like that. I'm trying to make it to it this week, and if not, I'll just wait for it on Disney Plus.
So a few things. I did get to see it. Allie from Allie's Adventures and I went and saw it Sunday morning. We got a I'm plugging her channel. Yeah,
too. I love it, but you just said it in a way that she's not your daughter. Like Allie from Allie's Adventures and I.
Okay, so my daughter
Allie, who has a podcast.
So we went and saw it Sunday morning. If you have a good theater that does a matinee, you can still see it on their big screens. We have the Imagine theaters, and we saw it in their IMAX for $9 Sunday morning. It was fantastic. It does have some good big screen moments. I think it's going to translate well when you bring it down to, your 55, 65 inch TV. I felt like the first Avatar was just kind of like everything was awe-inspiring and huge and big. And this one, I didn't get that the whole way through the movie. So, I think it will do well. Still a great movie. Don't get me wrong. Still a great movie. Still worth going and seeing if you want to go see it in the theater. And apparently $441 million worth of people wanted to see it in the theater over the weekend. Which is a great opening, but I think it's one that's going to go well onto the TVs. So let's get into a little bit of news here. Let me go ahead and get the timer going. So we've got 15 minutes here. Let me start out with the big news. The big news is we have an end date for Harmonious. That came out last week. It was speculated, and I don't think it's a big surprise, but Harmonious is going to end with the 50th celebration at the end of March. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. If you're not going to go see it, go over to our YouTube channel if you're not already there and check it out. We have a fantastic version, multi-angle version, over on the YouTube channel that we think does a really good job kind of capturing what that show is. So Harmonious is a really, really good show. What's it going to be replaced with at Epcot, Peter?
So I know that we had talked about that, but from my knowledge, the new one isn't supposed to be ready until later next year.
Yeah, so it sounds like they're going to try and do a little bit of a bridge show and possibly...
It seems like sort of like an Illuminations kind of, maybe similar to the...
Epcot Forever.
Yeah, there it is. I was like, what is that? The show we both hated. Right, so you and I have speculated, and we even talked about, and I'm forgetting the name of it, but like it's been speculated, but nothing's been officially announced. Unless you have some knowledge that I have about the new show's official name or anything.
So there is no official name.
Right. We just know, like, Demaro said that it'll debut in late 2023. So I was kind of surprised that they are going to chop it without having the next one kind of, like, ready to go the very next day.
Is this the biggest disappointment when it comes to nighttime shows at Disney?
Harmonious?
How much money in everything that they put into this? Because from everything that I've heard, the big projection screens coming down, the taco barges are coming down. They are ripping everything out of the World Showcase Lagoon for the new show. So you're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars down the drain.
And think about all the time it took to develop, you know? I mean, that was getting set up and being set up for, gosh, you and I basically chronicled the building of those barges over the entire pandemic, I felt like.
Yeah.
We're like, ooh, aerial footage shows that they're almost done with another one. Like
it's crazy. And to think, you know, they're not going to get rid of that technology. It's going to go somewhere else. You know, I was talking to Shannon on the way home from the mall this afternoon that, you know, what if they put that setup or some of that setup between Disney Springs and Saratoga Springs as like a nighttime projection show, and then during the day it's just big LED billboards for Disney Springs locations.
Yeah, and you can put the little spray launchers up during the day too and just make it a really ugly looking fountain.
Well, and I think that's part of the reason why they're getting rid of it is because the fountain never worked. When you're sucking up that much ash from the illumination fireworks out of the World Showcase Lagoon, the fountain aspect of that never really worked the way it was intended. You know, I think I only saw the fountain going once or twice during the day, and all the days that we were there while they were building it, while they were testing it, and since they've had it up. So...
Yeah, the water features have always worked during the show to all the shows that I've seen. But yeah, during the day, they were just big set pieces sitting out. And to that point, you know, and there was a big cry for this when the show first was created. They really do detract from what used to just be this tranquil beautifulness of that lagoon as you walked around the World Showcase. So having those 5 massive set pieces out there really did detract from the scenery of like looking around World Showcase. So I don't know, I enjoyed Harmonious. I thought it was a good show. So I'm sad to see it go because it was a very great celebration of all of these different Disney movies, and it had a good theme and good messaging and good music and good fireworks and all that good stuff. But we just gotta sit and wait for 2023 now and officially see if the next thing's better.
Yeah, I think that's what it is we've gotta hope that they've got something in the works that's better, and you know, kind of ties back in that Illuminations feel that I think a lot of people were disappointed with the new show because it didn't have that outside of Disney feel.
Yeah, and that was my immediate, because I have the Farewell Illuminations Magic Band. Like, Illuminations celebrated world culture, Harmonious just celebrated Disney IP.
Yeah.
So.
All right, a couple of things in restaurants. We're getting Cinderella's Royal Table back with all the princesses. That's going to be starting on February 28th. So
I love that it's February. Why not March 1st? Why are we?
Why not February 29th?
Yeah. We're going to bring it back the very next February 29th. You got us.
So this has been an interesting one because technically, since not too long after the parks reopened from the pandemic, Cinderella's Royal Table was kind of operating as a character meal because Cinderella was still there in the dining hall.
Yeah, but okay, so the difference is Cinderella would just kind of like pop out and wave from a distance and then just leave again. So this will be back to Cinderella's down in the lobby waiting to greet you before you head up to your table. And you wait in line and do your meet and greet, and then you get called by your host or hostess to go and be sat. And then 3 or 4 other princesses who have been invited by Cinderella will come to your table, sign your books, take your photos, and all that stuff. So I get the delineation between, because it's not a character meal right now. There is a character at the meal, but it's not a character meal as we would label a dining experience.
So with this logic, is Be Our Guest a character meal?
No.
Okay.
And I don't sell it that way. And if you go on to Be Our Guest, I'm 90% sure that it's not listed as character dining.
Correct.
So no, I would never have classified Be Our Guest even during, like, before the pandemic when it was quick service breakfast, lunch. I would never classify dinner as a character meal. It is a signature dining experience that involves a unique meet and greet. That's the way I would put it. It's not a character meal. Because character dining, I need to be sitting there and they need to come to my table.
All right, speaking of character dining, let's go over to Chef Mickey's. Chef Mickey's is getting the buffet back on March the 1st. So...
and that one they did March 1st. Like, what the hell?
So buffet experience back at Chef Mickey's. So this is one of the things, and we've got this as a top three. We just haven't hit it yet. Things we wish would have stayed from the pandemic.
Dude, I swear to God, if that gets pulled randomly today.
I loved family style dining at Crystal Palace, at Chef Mickey's, at Tusker House. I loved that family style dining.
I can't disagree with you at all. One of my favorite aspects of Ohana versus those other ones that you just named is, or was, because now it'll go back to being one of the only ones that is.
Yeah.
That, like, you just bring me my platter of food. It's a limited. So the backside of that is, like, it's a more limited offering. Another one that does that, another character one.
Akershus.
Yep. Akershus, you have kind of like the food, like the salads and appetizer buffet, but then you order something off the menu.
But their breakfast was family style.
Right. I was thinking about Garden Grill. So Garden Grill's all
a
character family style. But anyway, I'm 100% on board with you. I kind of wish that all character dining was either, like Cinderella and Akershus do, where you kind of like, but you order a specific menu item, or like Topolino's does that as well. You order a specific menu item, or that it was that family style, because that the whole get up, get in line, wait through a buffet, come back, sit down, it really does detract a little bit of like from, I don't know, what I feel Disney should really be about. And that's, unique.
The service aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want, exactly right. Like, I want to sit down with my family and have a family meal. I don't want to sit there and go, oh, okay, hon. Well, I'm going to go up and get the kids' plates and then I'll come back and then you can get your plate. And then once you're back, I'll go get my plate.
Yeah, and then hopefully you don't miss one of the dance parties or a character coming by or, stuff like that. They try and tell you when people are coming. But at all of these places now, you've got special things between the characters that happen that inevitably you're going to be at a buffet when one of them happens. So
yeah, I can't tell you how many, during the buffet times, how many times we're like sitting there scooping our plate and it's like, hey, friends. You're like, no.
Got chicken nuggets falling off the plate as you're running back to the...
like throwing pudding and mandarin oranges flying everywhere. Got one kid under an arm, a plate in another.
All right. Disney's Festival Fantasy Parade is done for the year at Magic Kingdom. This is something that we both enjoy. We've both been able to see it. So what does Disney do for these last 2 weeks? So this is their peak time. What do they do with this parade for the last 2 weeks?
So they bring in that Christmas time parade in the week around it. Now, in my, I'd have to go do both in one day to kind of prove it. It's like a smaller version of the big party one, though. It's not the whole one, but it's got some of those same floats. So it's really nice. And then Santa's on the back one. Is he on the back one?
Yeah, he's on the last float.
The very last float. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Like Mickey's on the first one and Santa's on the back. Yeah, so they do a unique one with the time of year that we're entering, and it's nice. It's the same kind of thing that we talked about, how Space Mountain on Christmas Day will normally do the holiday overlay. So just making the days unique in comparison to the other 350 days a year where you would go to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. So if you do get a chance to go to Walt Disney World or Disneyland during the holidays, definitely take that chance because they are fantastic during the holidays.
Do you know, I don't think it's the whole Very Merry Christmas parade. I think it's a smaller...
I think it's like at least 3/4, if not more.
You think it's the whole thing?
Yeah, I think it's pretty close. So, all right, 2 minutes left. Let's go through some rapid fire here. The Making of the Disney Wish documentary is going to debut on National Geographic here on the 24th, so on Saturday on National Geographic. So if you have National Geographic or if you have Disney Plus, you should be able to see this documentary of the making of the cruise ship, the Disney Wish. Space Mountain implements new loose article policy, and the big thing around this policy was people thought that you weren't going to be able to film. It is going to, and I think you're going to see this a lot more, it's going more to what the cruise ship allows as far as filming on the aqueducts and that kind of stuff. The camera now has to be on your person, and it can't be on a gimbal, on a stick or anything like that. You have to have that mounted to your chest, on your head, something like that. So no more handheld camera on Space Mountain. Be ready. It's gonna come to more rides, I think.
Yeah, it's already kind of on Rock and Roller Coaster, because when I filmed, it had to be tethered, so it was fine that it was on a handheld, but it had to be tethered. They needed to see the tether wrapped around my wrist.
And on Expedition Everest, they made sure that it was tethered on Expedition Everest. New virtual assistant debuted last week for Walt Disney World. So it's basically like a text assistant that you can ask specific questions. The actual functionality of it wasn't great, but it will surely be expanded as we go. Lots of renovations on the hotels happening. Go over to the Disney Parks Twitter page to check out what's going on. This documents some of the stuff that's going on at the Grand Floridian, at Caribbean Beach. the Polynesian Tower project, that kind of stuff. Lots of stuff going on with the hotels. Festival of the Lion King's getting more show times and getting expanded a little bit. And the expansion is going into 2023, which is pretty awesome. And Disney's Wide World of Sports is going to be hosting a Major League Spring Training again. The Tampa Bay Rays are going to be making the Wide World of Sports complex their home for the first half of their spring training next year. So cool to see, because the Braves were there for years and years and years and years and years, and then it didn't host any teams for a while, and now the Rays are coming back next year. We'll see how that goes. Anything else that you're seeing, Mr. Salvadori?
Nope. You got the big two that I wanted to talk about.
Outstanding. Well, good news section. Let's get over to the top 3 section. Business trip.
Did the people move around?
It does tingle a little bit. All right. So I have this right here. It's going to be random. I'm shaking them up. I don't have anything in my hands, nothing like that.
Let's talk about the top 3 things that you wish would have stayed from the pandemic.
If it is, it is completely random. This is number 14. And let's go over. Let's hide Mr. Salvadori here for a second. You guys don't need to see that. If you did see it, you can jump on and, I guess, stream to my thing. Number 14 is, okay, this is an interesting one. A good one. The top 3 ticketed events at Walt Disney World. So by ticketed, we'll go with dessert parties, after parties, tours, anything that you would pay extra for at Walt Disney World. So you have 30 seconds from now.
Planning your first trip and getting overwhelmed by all the details? Planning your next trip and just want some new suggestions on things you haven't tried? Contact me at Princess and the Mouse Travel, and I'd love to work with you planning your next trip to the most magical place on earth.
You can contact Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel on Facebook at PATM Disney Travel. All right. You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Go ahead.
All right. So my number 3 is going to be Adventures by Disney Tours. And I'm going to really knock it down to the Yuletide Fantasy Tour that is during the holiday season. So Yuletide Yuletide Fantasy is basically a tour of Disney's events team on how they decorate the parks for Christmas. So this tour started in Epcot, and we went over to the Disney, I don't even remember what they called it. Their big warehouse where they do all the Christmas supply. So this would have been the first week of the Christmas holiday there. So like that first week in November. And it was cool because you go in there and it's just this huge warehouse of bulbs and wreaths and all that kind of stuff. And they tell you kind of how they figure out what they're going to do and how far out they plan and how long it takes to get everything ready and how they put everything together. You're doing the same thing I am, is pulling down some of your stuff. Let's not crash through the the microphone this week. But yeah, we got to do that. We got to go over to Emirates Patisserie to do Christmas cookie decorating. It was a really cool tour, and it took half the day. Got to see some really cool things. Disney. Oh, we went over to the show building as well, where they do all the costuming and where they do all the rehearsing for parades and their Christmas time shows and all that kind of stuff. So Yeah, it was a really neat tour. So they do a lot of different ones, everything from like the behind the scenes tour and that kind of stuff.
Man, you can't just throw out like 30 tours. One tour. The holidays ready tour. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Peter, what's your number 3?
My goodness, he does that all the time. All right, so I'm going to go with one that it's not currently being offered, but I truly hope that it comes back. The Frozen Dessert Party. We have done several dessert parties, and the Frozen Dessert Party over at Epcot is the best, hands down. So there's a wristband from the Frozen Dessert Party. I have a really nice one back here, and I didn't see it really quickly, so I just gave up on it real quick.
Yeah, we've got one in our Disney Memories box too.
So right there on the entrance to World Showcase, over to the left, back behind that building, they use that entire area. It's food. There's like desserts. There's a little bit of charcuterie, little cheese fondue, open bar. Fantastic time. Really great. You get to sit down about 45 minutes before the show starts and go all the way through the end of the show. And the best, honestly, after it gets done, then they escort you over to Frozen Ever After, and you get to close out your night after the fireworks, riding Frozen Ever after the ride's done and everybody's kind of exiting the park. And the unsung hero of this dessert party is actually these things right here. That I loved this when I put them on. So you put these on, and what it does is it snowflakes light sources. So the firework goes up and it launches, but then it snowflakes the trickle down of the firework. And it's so amazing. I remember putting these on and watching that fireworks and going, that's just fantastic. Right there. Yep. And you can see there's Anna and Elsa. Yep.
Yep.
So Frozen Dessert Party, not back yet, but I imagine that's going to be one of the things that do come back to Epcot as they get it back to, we'll say, normal. So, Matt, what's your number 2?
My number 2. Let's go over to the number 2s here. So, I kind of went back and forth with my number 2. My number 2 is actually going to be the dessert party for the Magic Kingdom fireworks. So, we haven't done the enchantment one yet, but we did do it with Happily Ever After. So, how the dessert party works is actually, it is in 3 different stages. So, you either have a pre-dessert party, a during dessert party, or a post-dessert party. All 3 dessert parties will have dedicated viewing areas for the show, but depending on which party you do, you're either going to have your treats and drinks before, during, or after the fireworks show. So we did it during the show. You sit in Tomorrowland Terrace. They have a little dessert buffet set out for you. The adults get a glass of champagne. The kids got a glass of sparkling apple juice, and you could go back and or sparkling grape juice, and you could keep going back and getting sparkling grape juice as much as you wanted. But yeah, it's kind of the same thing. The thing that I liked better about the Frozen dessert party than the Tomorrowland one was the view from Tomorrowland isn't the greatest of views. In the Frozen dessert party, they actually take you over to that port of entry area where you get one of the best views of those shows in that area. So that was the one thing that I was like, yeah. Now the new party with Enchantment, they have some of the hub seating, but it's still kind of off center, and it's not the premium seating, but it's still a good place to watch the fireworks from. There aren't many bad places to watch the fireworks from. But as far as Disney desserts, all little finger food desserts, awesome across the board. And these dessert parties will run anywhere from, about $69 to about $109, depending on when you're going and doing them and which one you're doing. So definitely check the prices out, or get with one of us and we can help you book it on your next trip. Peter, what's your number 2?
I was torn between 2, but I'm ultimately going to go with one that's a little bit more accessible for all. Again, one that not currently being offered because there's a lot of tours that are still working on getting the people back in place and get them going. But when it comes back, the Taste of the Magic Kingdom tour, was fantastic. You start up there by Tony's with a little appetizer, and then you walk to a few different kitchens, and they explain, like, for example, the Skipper Canteen kitchen is connected to the Liberty Tree Tavern and the Diamond Horseshoe kitchen. And so all of the food, and if you like think about now, if you look at a park map, yes, they're exactly on the opposite side of that center building. So they just kind of tell you like how the restaurant in Tomorrowland Terrace actually supplies the food for everything all the way over to Casey's Hot Dogs. It's really cool if you're a foodie to hear how all of that food gets made and prepared every day, and how it's very interesting because in Magic Kingdom, you would think, oh, there's so many restaurants. Yeah, there's actually only like 4 kitchens currently running throughout the day, and everything's kind of being utilidored up secret entrances to the various places. The only thing that gets made in Casey's is the fries. Everything else gets utilidored up, and they have a dumbwaiter that comes up into the back with the stuff that goes down to the utilidor. So just really, really cool information to find out, full of different little food samplings and other stuff. My favorite thing was they ended it at Tomorrowland Terrace, and they sat us down and they brought us egg rolls and said, these are just a couple of different offerings. Tell us what you think. Give us some feedback. The chefs want to know. And now the egg rolls that I tasted are now in that little egg roll stand just off to the right before you go into Adventureland. So it's kind of cool because I remember having those egg rolls on that VIP food tour. Matt, what is your number one? And you better not say mine.
I know I'm not going to say yours because I'm going completely out of reach for a lot of people, and I'm going with the Magic Kingdom photo session. So Disney offered and will offer again a lot of different family photo sessions. They have the something your moment right now. Capture your moment.
Something your moment.
The capture your moment. Little 15-minute photo sessions right now. But when they come back in their full-fledged glory, you can do family photo sessions at any of the parks, any of the hotels, anywhere you want with Disney photographers. And it is unbelievable. We have done it 3 times now. We did the Magic Kingdom one, we did one at the Polynesian, and then we did one at the Grand Floridian with the in-laws. And it's fantastic. You can go in with your own plan, or you can let the Disney photographer take you around to different places to get photos. When we did the Magic Kingdom one is definitely an upcharge. So, especially if you're going to do the longer one, we did the hour one. You get into the park before the park opens. That way you don't get anybody in your shots. They take you around. You get your classic castle shots. We did a lot over in that right as you were going into Adventureland area, and then we did some in the little offshoot in the shopping area across from the Emporium. And just fantastic photos with the Magic Kingdom one. We also got a 16 by 21 canvas photo, and we got a upside down Disney Fine Art USB that they put all of our photos on in this cool little case that we got to keep all of the studio images as well.
There are Christmas carolers at my house. That's Jingle Bell Rock is currently happening over here.
There you go. So so that is my number one. And again, that'll be something, once it comes back in its full glory, you can definitely reach out to us if you have any questions. I am very knowledgeable on those photo sessions and would love to help you get one for your family. Peter, what is your number one?
Is my mic picking up Jingle Bell Rock?
A little bit.
Okay, so I'll just try to talk through it a little bit. My number one is the Wild Africa Trek over at Animal Kingdom. It is an amazing experience. You start just kind of to the side of Kilimanjaro Safaris. They put a vest that kind of cinches in. If you've ever been, rock climbing or things like that, it's got that whole thing, the whole little harness and everything. But then they take you back through a little nature trail and they start you onto this Wild Africa Trek. And so you walk along and you see the hippopotami. They tell you all about them. They do like a feeding to make them come over so that they'll eat. Walk through a little bit more. They take you get to go over the bridges, over the crocodile area. You just get these really unique immersive experiences. And then you climb aboard a private vehicle, take sort of a different route through the safari area. And if you've ever been on the safari, when you're out in that big grassland area, there's the hut up to the upper right that you go, oh, maybe that's like part of Animal Kingdom Lodge or something. And it's not. It's actually this trek. They bring you up there and they park in there and you get out and you come to this little private dining area where they've got that pog juice along with a little canteen of all of these different unique foods that are just so good. And then you sit around, you got about 30-40 minutes to sit around there before they load you back up and kind of finish your safari back on that private vehicle. And so you just get a very, very intimate safari experience in addition to some really kind of fun excursion, like trek things. You get to like hook into these things and like lean out over the different animal enclosures. It's just a really, really amazing thing. It is by far worth the money. It is a little bit pricey. Gets you up towards $200 a person, but worth it. 100% worth it. I had some clients do it. I've done it. And then my clients who did it, I booked a trip for them and they were like, hey, book us that Wild Africa trek again. So like, even though they've been on it, it's so amazing of an experience. So that is the end. And then you want me to end this and come back?
Yeah, but I wanted to say one thing before we go. I think when we talk about, tours and that kind of stuff, the tours pricing really varies from tour to tour because you can get prices for as low as 19, to $30 a person. Yeah. And then you can do other tours.
Is super cheap.
Yeah, and then you can do other tours that are $400 an hour.
Yeah.
So, it's very much what you're wanting to do, what you're wanting to see. How in depth do you want to get? Do you want to see behind the curtain on some of these things? Because there's some stuff that, just not knowing is magical enough. So, but yeah. So Peter, where can people find you?
Facebook at Princess and the Mouse Travel. Click on there, send me a message, and
and we'll get him back here in a second. So what he was saying, Princesses and the Mouse, Disney Travel. Go over to Facebook at PATM Disney Travel. You can find him over there. Or Salva Disney, SALVADISNEY, salvadisney@gmail.com is his direct email address. Or you can just go over to the website and check us out. But thanks. This is another great top 3. We will see you guys next year with the top 3 segment.
Do you have questions concerning planning a Disney trip? Ask them live on the show or submit them on our website at patmdisneytravel.wixsite.com/planning.
And quickly, I'm going to get Peter back on here and we'll get the show going again. Apparently, I should have watched the time a little bit better.
I know. I was like, you want me to restart this? And then you were like, yeah, but let me talk for more than a minute. I was like, oh.
All right. So tonight's question, viewer question, I really haven't even looked at it yet. So let's see here. What do we have over on the old Gmailoscope here? See if we can give you some options.
I never ever get options. And during the news show, you just like throw out a news item and say, "Hey, what is it?" I'm like, "What are we talking about?"
I know. All right. So I will lean on your expertise on this question. This is about the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. And this, let's give credit where it's due on the question, because apparently I can't find the person's Bookies Love 23. Don't know if you're a gambler or a reader. So, I mean, that's a pretty wide open username there. Okay, to be honest, it is really as bad motion sickness-wise am I being told. I don't get motion sick, but I have fear of getting sick, so my anxiety regarding this ride is high from reviews. I've literally ridden everything at Walt Disney World. The only ride I did not like that made me Disney was Star Tours. Watched a YouTube ride video. It didn't look bad. Looks very fun, but I'm still nervous. So what is your experience with the ride as far as motion sickness? Now, I know that shortly after they opened the ride, they added a bunch of trash cans by the exit. So, what are your thoughts?
Here are my thoughts. If you can handle Rock and Roller Coaster and Space Mountain, then you're going to be perfectly fine here. And I mentioned those two because Rock and Roller Coaster hits you with the lateral G's. Space Mountain kind of hits you with the whoa. So Guardians of the Galaxy is very smooth. If I can describe the ride experience, I would say something similar to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So it's a tubular coaster, very, very smooth ride. But then the only difference is the ride vehicle that you're in articulates and pivots to like kind of shift your view on like what you're supposed to be looking at. What I can tell you is the front, if you can get in the front, you can see the tracks a little bit more. And so even though it is in the dark, there's enough ambient light to where if you're in the front, you can see where the tracks are and where the tracks are going to go, which always helps with motion sickness. And then there is one scene where you kind of like are really dived, like you're going around, but your vision is being pushed with how the car's articulated, looking at something in the center of this go around. And that's the only spot on it where like I kind of go, ooh, if I really focus in on that. So if I'm not feeling great, maybe like while I'm being pushed this way, I look to where the ride track is going, just to kind of like give myself, that frame of reference. You only really get motion sick on things if you lose your frame of reference, which is why I never understand people who are like, I get motion sick, so I close my eyes. Okay, well, now your body doesn't know what's about to happen.
Yeah, it's all an orientation and space thing, so.
Right, you got to be like, oh, I get motion sick, so I need to see that I'm going down, then going to the left, then going to the right. So those would be my tips. I will tell you this, though, just straight up. If the only thing that's made you sick at Disney World is the Star Tours motion simulator, then, yeah, you can handle this hands down, 100%. And even if it does make you sick, it's worth it. Boot, rally, and so ride the thing, boot and rally, and move on with your day, because not going on it out of fear is robbing yourself of one of the best roller coaster experiences of my life. And that is coming from somebody. I have been on it now over 10 times through sheer virtual queue and individual Lightning Lane purchases. I am ashamed of how much I have spent for individual Lightning Lane purchases on that ride, just because I wanted to ride it a whole bunch in the few trips that I've taken down there since it's been opened.
All right. Well, Peter, again, where can people find you at?
Go to Facebook, type in Disney Travel Agent or Princesses and the Mouse, and you will find me really quickly. We can start talking via Facebook. You can also go onto our Wix site and fill out that form, and I will email you within a couple of days of receiving that form and start the conversation that way.
Fantastic.
Would love to talk to you, though. Have plenty of time to help you work through 2023 vacations and beyond.
So, speaking of 2023, we've got a little bit of time. What are your thoughts on travel right now? Just for me, it seems like 2023 in Disney is really down right now, so it might be a really good time to go.
It's not a little down. It's down. Normally, like right now, heading into the year, I would be probably looking. And again, I don't really push my business. I more do I do the business to like share my expertise, because I always have my clients. Oh my gosh, you're so knowledgeable. Yes, I know, but that's why I do it. But it's not my 9 to 5. It's not my bread and butter. So it's more of a hobby. So I don't like push myself out there and like if you ask me for info and I email you and then you don't email me back, I don't know. I might follow up 1 or 2 times, but then I'm just cut the cord and kind of go and say, okay, hopefully you found someone else or you're making it happen on your own.
Yeah, you're not going to chase sales leads.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to follow up on sales leads, but yeah, I'm not going to like hound you aggressively or anything else like that, and same thing in the planning. I'm going to be really relaxed and laid back on it. I'm going to make sure that everything gets done on the deadlines of when they need to get done. But my goal is really just to like make you see that we can just relax. It's going to get done. You're going to have an amazing trip and you're not going to have to do any of the legwork. And if you're like worried about stuff, I'm going to answer your questions and calm your fears. And if you want to, I have some clients where before their trip, I might have 15-hour-long conversations. And I got other clients that, hey, I talked to you 3 times. I get what I need. I get your trip ready to go. And then you go and you have an amazing time.
Yeah.
And everything in between. But anyway, back to your actual question. Normally, right now, I would expect to have, I don't know, somewhere in the teens, maybe into the 20s of reservations for the upcoming year. I don't even have in the 10s right now of trips coming into 2023. And again, not my bread and butter. I'm not worried or concerned about it in any way, but just from a travel side of it, being able to look in and see. Yeah, down is the right word for sure. I mean, just it's part of, the, I don't know, it's according to the U.S. Consumer Report the other day, it's 9% more expensive for me to keep myself alive today than it was last year. So,
yeah.
That has part of it. If I used to be able to go to the grocery store for $60 and now I'm going to the grocery store for, $70, I used to fill up my gas tank. I drive a truck. So $75 used to fill my tank, and now $75 I'm like, heck yeah, 2/3.
Yeah.
No. So like all of those little things are impacting all of our viewers as well. So it makes sense that travel is going to be a little bit down. Disney is posting their worst stock value in 30-something years to close out the year or something.
Yeah.
Maybe even more. Maybe it was in the 70s I read, so like 40-something years.
Well, and it's crazy because, we've talked about kind of the deals that they have going on at the beginning of next year already, and these deals go through spring break.
Yeah,
and
end of April.
You never see travel deals for Disney during spring break. But that also, to me, says we're not going to get Tron anytime before middle of April.
Yeah, and I'm worried about that because I'm going 1st of April. So I was really banking on going 1st of April and catching Tron in its opening week. Or, one of its opening weeks. But, yeah, it is what it is.
Hey, we'll have that news for you when it breaks next year, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to break at some point.
Yep.
The big tell on Tron, obviously. So they've already told the cast members. They've already started ride testing with upper level executives and some cast members. So if it's not open by April 1st, I'm actually going to be surprised. So I'm still kind of holding out hope that it's like early March is when it launches in the effort to fill it over spring break. And these deals are just a push to get occupancy where they want it, and then they'll use Tron as a way to fill occupancy.
Yeah. That would make sense as well.
Sales into the summer. So.
Well, Peter, have a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, you and your family. Be safe this weekend if you're doing any traveling. It is going to be brutal in the Midwest.
Yeah, we pushed our travel off to next week for that very reason.
Yep. So be safe, and I will talk to you in the new year.
All right, bye everybody. Have a great day.
Bye now. Peter with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel joined us this afternoon. Talked a little Disney news, top 3 on our favorite ticketed events, and a customer question about Guardian. Looking for us on social media, Facebook's the best place to find us. At DPI Podcast for the show, at PATM Disney Travel for the travel side. Look for some big news beginning of the year. If you're over on Twitter, as long as Elon lets us still, cross-post to different platforms, at Disney Insights on Twitter. Thank you guys all for a fantastic 2022. Have an amazing Christmas and New Year. We will see you in 2023. Bye now.